All right, everyone, welcome this morning for our weekly press conference. It's great to be back getting ready to play on a Saturday again. The Blue Raiders will go to UTEP this week. The game's at 2:30 Central Time on CBS Sports Network. That'll be 1:30 their Mountain Time. So to talk about this week's game, we'd like to get started with the head coach, Derek Mason.
Good morning. Been back on a regular schedule, and it's week number 9, UTEP week. Excited about our preparation for this game. Our guys have had a chance to get a couple of days of recovery towards the end of last week, and I think and that always helps when you have an opportunity to come off a tough game and really just look at yourself, how to recover. Get the refresh, hit the reset button, and get ready to go as we head on the road to play UTEP. Scotty Walden, in his first year, has done a good job there, just in terms of building his culture. We're trying to do the same here at MTSU. And we face a team that defensively in the last couple of weeks have really hit stride in terms of their run defense and how they've looked to play football there. Offensively, I watched a little bit of the game from last week. I saw what happened to their quarterback and late in the game. He took a vicious hit, and with that, and they have him listed, so obviously he's going to be playing. But for us, I look at that football team as a football team, and that's looking to ascend. And they have an identity on offense. They know who they want to be, just in terms of their spread offense. Defensively, like I said, they're ascending. And when I look at special teams, they've been solid. For us, Holden is not available as of yet. So with that being said, we move ahead and we know and understand that if he is available, that we'll play with him. But if he's not, we're moving forward, and this football team is going to prepare to head to El Paso and play his best ball. So that's where we sit right now. Again, excited to step into this game, knowing that we need to go on the road and show that we can play well on the road. That means packing your defense. That means scoring points offensively and continuing to work to be solid in special teams. So with that, I'll open it up for questions.
Coach, on paper, it looks like a lot of the defensive production for UTEP comes from the linebacker and sort of their, defensive backs, the spur that's sort of closer to the line of scrimmage. Mm-hmm. What allows those guys to execute so well in that scheme where they're racking up as many tackles as they are?
I think what happens, for that group is they're a hunt-and-seek ball team. They do a great job of playing with leverage. Their eyes are clean. They populate to the football, and they find ways to make plays on ball. I think that's, extremely important. Not just you populating to the ball, but when you get there and you can be productive, right? And you still got to get guys down. It's still a man tackle man. You got to put your body on somebody to get them to the ground, and I think they've done a good job, especially in the last 2 weeks, of being able to make you one-dimensional in terms of stopping the run. But that second-level group is fast, they're explosive, and they do a great job of leveraging the football.
You mentioned Holden being out at the tight end position. Mm-hmm. One guy that, might look to step up his absence that got some play last week was Evan Potticher, coming in as a true freshman, making a catch. What led him to get that opportunity, so early in his career, and what have you all seen from him, in practice, where we don't see him that led him into that job?
Yeah, I saw Chip out at practice yesterday for a little bit. I think anytime you get guys that step into these venues, you're always going to have young guys that step up. Like for him, he's never really flinched. He's just taking the opportunity to step in and compete, and I think that's what you have to do nowadays. Football is a game where you sort of work on your practice tools, and hopefully your practice tools carry over to game day performance, right? And he's been one of those that really hasn't been, fazed by who he's playing against. He's just gotten his opportunities by playing hard. It started on scout team. He played hard, and then it moved from scout team to being able to get normal reps in good-on-good periods. And again, I think for him, you got to want to compete. Football is a competition game, so if you're not afraid to compete, the ability shows up, and for him it showed up time and time again.
Coach, you mentioned that there's a lack of physicality in tackling against Jacksonville State. Is that something you guys are putting an emphasis on in practice this week?
I think we emphasize it every week. I don't think you can emphasize one thing every other week, and guys are going to get good at it. I think it's time on task. We talk to guys about trusting their training. I don't care, what you do. I don't care if you're a paramedic. I don't care if you're a doctor. I don't care if you're a dentist. If you want to be good at anything, man, you have to have, time on task. It's sort of like that Bruce Lee quote, man, Coach Pascal, my special teams coach always quotes, I fear the man, who does one kick 10,000 times. Okay, not the man that has 10,000 kicks, right? So it's time on task with what we do. Okay, so tackling is about time on task. And not only do you have to practice it, but you have to effectively do it, okay, for it to, become part of your toolbox, right? I look at Xavier, Williams. I mean, he's been on the defensive side, for a month and a half, and he probably leads our team in tackling. Okay, is that by accident? No, it's by time on task. He works hard every day in practice to try to make sure that like those tools show up for him. And as guys continue to invest and be a little more intentional about what their practices look like, the games will be a little more intentional. And to me, that's where it shows up. It's not, games are sort of a microcosm of what like you see in practice. And the later you are in the season, sometimes guys tend to take their foot off the gas when you really should be pressing the gas because you only get so many days of contact, right?
Coach, as you said, Holden Willis right now is not available. What exactly is the issue with him?
Look, I think everybody saw, like what happened on Saturday. Man, he took a hit. I think he's fine. I mean, we really don't talk about the medical stuff, but I think if you watch the game, man, you have a pretty good understanding of where we sit right now. So Holden, I've seen him the last couple of days, man. He looks good to me. But again, I'm not a doctor, right? So I mean, I leave that to the working professionals. I worry about, our guys that are practicing, and, hopefully, man, we'll get a chance to see Holden as soon as he's available.
You look back on Coach Walden's history, even at Austin Peay, and he will throw many different offensive looks at you. When you prepare defensively, what goes into it, and how disciplined do your second-level defenders have to be?
Let's start with stopping the run. All right? I mean, you can say they don't run the ball a ton, right? But you got to stop the run. You got to stop the run, and then it starts with the idea that you build a wall, you set in there, you track your hip, and you play top down. Like those are fundamental things in football, and that have to be, man, part of the process. So to me, as we look, they're going to create matchups. They're an 11 personnel, 01 personnel, so they'll spread you out. But I mean, if you look at what happened to us last week and how they tried to finish that game with their quarterback being out, they ran the football. So to me, it starts with let's stop the run, okay? And then we have to look at our one-on-one matchups, and we have to win those one-on-one matchups. And when we're in zone, man, we got to be, extremely good at being able to see the quarterback, put eyes on the quarterback, and populate to the football. So his concepts are going to be matched with our concepts. Players are going to have to go out and play football. That's what this game's about.
8 games in, 4 left, and you can play 4 without losing a year when it comes to redshirting, things like that. Are we going to – any chance we're going to see guys in this last third of the year that we haven't seen that might get some reps without losing a year, or vice versa?
Yeah, all hands on deck. I think this much, right? I'm a first-year head coach. I want to know what's on my roster. I'm not going to wait till spring ball to figure out, whether or not a guy's, talented enough or able enough to help this football team. For those guys who haven't played, I mean, like there's been several guys who have had spot play here and there, right? I want to see what they can do. I'm going to see what they can do. They're going to get ample opportunity without losing the red shirt. They're going to get ample opportunity, man, to play for this football team. And so the rules have changed around, things like bowl games and stuff like that. I'm not worried about that. I'm just worried about seeing these guys in these next 4 games having an opportunity to show what their skill set is now and what it could be in the future.
You talked about yards after contact defensively, and on the radio you speculated you said there may be 200 yards after contact. Did you all go back and look at that and come up with a number?
Yeah, 283.
283.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a lot of yards, right? So you think about it, right? Let's go back to the tackling question. You're right. The idea is this, right? You need to be, 92 to 90, 95%, accurate in terms of your targeting and tackling. And what that eliminates if we go back and we're just even close to that number, okay, man, we find ourselves with them having, maybe 200, 60, 65 yards rushing, and for a rushing team, sort of is what it is. I mean, you'll call that a pretty good day, if you look at limiting that and still having the same amount of pass yards. You're like, hey, man, I'll take that. That's a good day at the office. But when you give up explosive runs, I mean, multiple explosive runs, then it becomes problematic, right? Because then that's where it gets deflating, and really, you start looking at it, and the more you talk about it, the more it starts to add up on you. And so, our guys have seen the tape. I think they understand what it is, and I thought practice looked a little different like yesterday in terms of what guys were looking to do and what we were looking to get done in a fundamentals practice. So now what we do is learn. Like, we're a 2-6 football team that's played 8 games, so we know what's behind us. The road in front of us is really up to us. How intentional are we going to be about how we practice? How intentional are we going to be about the work that gets done? That's where I'm looking to go right now. Okay, I can't dwell on where we've been because that road's been traveled. I'm dwelling on where we're going, and I'm betting on us. So, like I told our guys, man, let's get to work. Let's enjoy the process. This week we got UTEP, so let's get that done.
Anything else for Coach?
Appreciate you guys.
Leading tackler Xavier Williams and leading receiver Omari Kelly. We'll get started with Omari.
How y'all doing today?
Oh, you had kind of talk a little bit about where you guys are offensively right now. You're 2/3 of the way through the season, and you're always self-evaluating. Kind of talk about where you think this offense is and where the improvement can come in the next 4 weeks.
I feel like the offense, we're in a okay spot, not really where we want to be, but I feel like we're getting there. Every day we're working, trying to improve as much as we can every day, and I feel like, we'll eventually have to start being more aggressive in the run game, and the pass game is gonna be what it is right now. Considering that we don't know if we're gonna have Holden. Other guys are gonna have to step up if he doesn't end up playing. So I feel like we're just gonna have to be more aggressive all around offensively.
We talked a little bit about the extra time y'all get this week as far as recovery goes. How'd you go about using those 2 extra days last week to get your mind right, get ready for this week's game?
Going to treatment, getting a little more sleep than I might have been getting the past couple of days. So just trying to take advantage and take as much time to get my mind and my body back right.
Yeah, you're one of the leading receivers in Conference USA. In the start of the career, it was just hard for you to see the field initially. How big has this season been just for you personally to reaffirm that belief in yourself that you had when you came here?
Honestly, never, lost belief in myself. I just feel like, I came here and just got a chance, and I really felt like I just needed a chance my whole career, and now that I'm finally getting one, everything that I've been working towards is finally starting to show up.
Finally, UTEP's defense has keyed in on the run game recently, but what do you see for them in the secondary? What sort of talent do they have back there that you guys are looking at in the passing game?
They have a decent DB core. Nothing I wouldn't say is anything crazy. They have number one. I feel like it's probably their best DB, and I feel like we're just gonna have to stay focused and go back to what we work on in practice to make sure we can win our one-on-ones.
They were able to take a little bit of the load off of you on some of the return stuff with Bruton came in and on kickoffs and stuff. Does that help you at all as far as your load management during a game, or do you like to just be out there as much as you can?
Well, on kickoff return, I'm actually the emergency. so I don't really get much. I don't really get much on that. But I like to be on the field as much as I can outside of kickoff return because it's not really something I do. But I do like to be on the field as much as I can.
Yeah, Omar, you started your career at Auburn, obviously transferred here, having a great season as a Blitnikoff finalist and on pace for over 1,000 yards. Just talk about your journey from Auburn and then transferring to play for Coach Mason and then having the season that you're having.
So to start off, the Auburn wasn't really – I can't say I had a terrible experience there, but it wasn't the ideal experience for anybody wanting to, come in and make a difference, considering that I didn't – see as much playing time, not as much my freshman year because my freshman year I played in all 12 games, but my sophomore year not getting as much playing time as I really desired or felt like I could have had. And, just being able to come here and have a coaching staff that has complete trust in me and has 100% belief in me as major, honestly. And that's something that I feel like I haven't necessarily had, coming from Auburn. So I think that's the best thing about all this.
I mean, obviously you and Nick have a good connection. Just how important is it to have that receiver to quarterback connection and vice versa?
I feel like that connection is really just as good as having a connection with anybody else on the team. It's just you have to keep building the relationship as the season goes on. And I just feel like the connection comes naturally the more that we, catch and throw with each other.
Thank you, Mark. Thanks, Mark.
Thank you.
Hey, how y'all doing?
Xavier, we just talked with Coach about sort of time on task, with working on tackling as a defense. What have you really focused in on since your switch over in those types of drills that have helped you, early on, on your time on defense?
I would say my angles. I think tackling all comes down to angles, putting yourself in the best position to make form tackles. So I would say my biggest focus has been trying to work on my angles, consistently working at each and every day.
What's the key to getting a good angle? Is it just a rep thing with time, or is there something particular you're looking for?
I mean, I would say it takes time, but also almost just a time on task thing. You kind of have to feel it out. You kind of have to mess it up, learn some things, understand like, oh, that's not right. But the biggest thing is continuing to learn every day and being super intentional about the angles you take when you are, even when we're not fully tackling in practice, but still making sure you're taking those angles even when we're tagging off and things like that.
Playing the safety position that you play, good news, hey, you're one of the leading tacklers on the ball club. Bad news, hey, your safety is one of your leading tacklers. Talk a little bit about you guys and where you are right now on the defensive side and kind of what Coach was talking about at the end and eliminating yards after contact, things like that.
I think it just all comes down to a mentality as a defense, just understanding that that's not what we want and that's not what we tolerate. That's not the standard. Making sure we wrap and roll, making sure we bring people to the ground, like populating to the ball, getting everybody to the ball, making sure that there is no more yards after contact.
Have you had an opportunity to look at UTEP much? And because they do like to, they like to throw it. They ran it when they had to against Louisiana Tech the other night. But what do you see on them on film?
I think they're a good team, a good disciplined team. They throw a lot of different things at you. So I think it always comes down to what we do, though, as a defense and playing our keys, playing what we see, understanding what we're going to get, and just executing. Last
thing, you're back to last 4 games of the year, and they're all on Saturday, all in the afternoon. Is it kind of comforting to get back to a normal schedule?
For sure. It's definitely good to be back on a Saturday schedule. This last run was different, but we got through it. So.
Anything else? Thanks, appreciate it.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. All right, thanks everyone. A reminder, same time next week as the Blue Raiders actually get to come back home, and we'll play Liberty next week. So we'll see you Monday at 10:30. Thank you.